What happens when you show a group of young Americans what is actually being taught to children in Gaza? Take a look at this clip over here where that's exactly what's done. They're shown in a documentary format what goes on, what children are taught, what the culture is like in Gaza and in areas like it. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
في الأساس في المدرسة عن إسرائيل.
إنهم ننطقهم لأنهم هم أدونا وهيك.
أنا بدي أهزمهم بالحرب، بدي أهزمهم.
يعني إنهم بيعلمونا بالمدرسة إنهم إرهابيين
إنهم هدول مش منيح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا.
عمليات الدعس، عمليات الطعن.
العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي إشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
بس بدك بطلع بستشهد هذا.
It's like information I haven't really been exposed to.
This is a lot of stuff that I only thought about and considered, but never actually saw it. So it was really an eye-opener.
It's a lot to take in.
They didn't tell us about that.
I gotta be honest. I feel like a moron, an idiot, because I am naive. I live my own little bubble. The world is fine. The world is great. And you see something like that and you're like, holy shit. Having little kids say that, them telling them on TV shows to kill Jewish people. Like, why are we allowing this? Like, why is this happening? I think most people are like me. We just don't know what's going on. I have no idea this was going on.
And we are in a war right now. And I believe this is a psychological war. And yes, that is very scary. And I think that is why education is so crucial right now. If I was a child there, I would probably believe the same.
Yeah, I think it's just sad that no one in power is protecting these kids from an educational perspective.
It's really disheartening and disappointing that these kids aren't able to have the childhood that they need to have.
I think we really need to wake up and stop being so nice and get really involved and pull the plug.
الجهاد يا قوة عز وإباء من دمها صنعت حرية.
أنت يا زكريا شو حابب تصير مهندس؟ مهندس؟ ليش بدك تصير مهندس؟ عشان أفجر اليهود.
أنا بقول له يمسك حجر لما يجي اليهود عنده يمسكه وبوم.
نطخ اليهود
كلهم؟
طيب.
It's scary because they're young kids, but they have so much hate in their eyes. How could you be teaching kids this type of act and just these things that aren't true? It's horrible.
The kids are being robbed of not only their innocence, but they're also being robbed of their natural ability just to love life in general. Getting taught from a young age to literally hate your neighbors and to hate the people that are around you. So that's really sad to watch and to see.
They're children running around with guns and knives.
ويقتل كل شيء وانا مش عارف ما فيش بدنا نتحرر عن بلادي انزلت اليهود المجرمين المستضعفين.
It tears my soul, honestly. They don't know what they're getting into. They're just repeating and keeping a cycle of hate that's going on.
It's thankfully so distant from our cultural comprehension that people would be taught on children's shows to kill and murder and kill themselves. And it's important to remember that the U.S. is in the UN and that a lot of our dollars go to the UN and UNRWA, which is American resources, Western resources, UN resources, and money go to schools that actively teach children to hate Jews.
What is the UN for? If that's happening, like, this is just straight up anti-Semitic propaganda. I'm sorry. It's just like the same thing we saw 80 years ago.
I think if more people knew, we could do something about this. This isn't right.
I think watching this video really shook me because now it's real and it's scary. And I think it starts, like everyone's saying, with our children, which I feel really bad for these children in a way. They are not fully developed. They don't know right from wrong and they deserve better. It's really important that these videos are shown to everyone.
What blows my mind is that anyone can watch this and have any other thoughts. Like if two of your friends were fighting and one of them put an iron dome around his house, built a house of bricks and waited in the corner for a gun to protect him and his family. And the other dude was building vests and stuff and piloting planes. You'd be like, oh, one's on the attack and one's on the defense. I challenge anyone on the internet, in this room, in this world to find a video of Israel or Jews with this type of energy. There's no kids programming in Israel to hate anyone. There's young, dumb 20-year-olds who think they know something. And it's the first time in history that, again, other than the Holocaust, that Jews are looking at the world going, hey, we need backup. We need help.
Because it is sad to see kids saying this stuff. It's kind of sad that
Jewish people have to go through what they're going through. It was this incident where a couple of Jewish kids have to lock themselves inside like a room because they were being chased around by other students because I guess they were Jewish.
After the LGBTQ, they're going to come after the Black community. They're going to come after the Asian community because they don't like anyone but themselves. They don't even like themselves. They want to kill themselves.
This is an experience that I'm going to walk out of this room today, and I don't think my next week is going to be the same as what I thought it was going to be.
It's really sad to know that there are things like this that exist in other parts of the country that are literally instilling people just to hate from a very early age.
I feel like at this moment, all we can do is have faith and have urgency to coming up with solutions.
I think once people like me start knowing, we want to help out because this isn't going to stop with them. Bring awareness. The more people know, we can start doing something. We can talk to the government, ask questions about the UN, like why are they giving money to these people? Yeah, I think it's a good start.
That type of energy, this type of information, I do think that it will help.
We need tolerance. I don't need to agree with my neighbor, but just because I don't agree with someone doesn't mean that I have to kill them, shoot them, or dedicate my life to hating them. Tolerance.
There's a lot of people that I know from the Jewish community that, first of all, wonder why there's so many protesters and groups and whatever that are siding against Israel. And then there's also there's even more people in the Jewish community, I think, that question, well, how come most people don't say anything or don't have an opinion on the matter or whatnot? And I think this video kind of captures a microcosm of why. People just don't really know what's going on. One of the people over here that were watching this documentary were saying that they kind of live in their own bubble. They think that the world is basically fine. They think that everything around the world is basically hunky-dory, except for like the war situations that they hear about in the background. But more or less, everyone and everything, every culture is essentially the same. They have different maybe traditions and dress and languages, but all cultures are essentially the same. People just don't know. They don't know. And so when you don't know, you think, okay, well, there's this squabble over land that's been happening in Israel for God knows how long. And so whatever, they'll work it out one day. I don't have any opinion on it. People that are in the Jewish community, I think, are a little extra sensitive to it and are, because they're much more engaged. They know what's going on. They follow it. It's in their feeds. It's in the algorithm shows them what's going on. They're constantly checking in. They have relatives in Israel. It's much more in their face and real to them because they're living with it on a daily basis. The average American person that is not necessarily either Jewish or focused on the Middle East or thinking about what's going on in Israel, they're not caring out of just apathy. They're just, in the same way that in the Jewish community that you might not know the ins and outs, the details of what's going on in Sudan, and you might not know the ins and outs of what's going on between Pakistan and India and all the other things going on around the world. You're hyper-focused on what's going on in Israel, and that's fine. That's understandable. It's something that you have a personal relationship with. But the reason that other people don't have the same energy and emotion that you do towards that situation isn't because of anything personal towards Jews per se. It's oftentimes anyway. It's because they look at that in the same way that you might look at, again, Sudan and India, Pakistan, and you don't know so much about it. You hear in the background there's stuff going on. You can't pinpoint who exactly is right, and you don't really have that much of an interest to go investigate. But when you see over here in this video the reaction of these people once they are exposed to the fact that this is not just like some land squabble that's been going on for a long time. This is an active cultural force that tries to propagate children from the youngest of ages, teaching them kill the Jews. That Jews should be killed, that Israelis should be targeted. That is the ultimate goal in life. That's something that they're taught right from the earliest of ages. Children's programming has it. Children's books. You won't find anything remotely similar in Israel or amongst world Jewish culture, if you wanted to phrase it that way. We are talking about two completely different worldviews, two completely different ideologies. If you understood what is going on in the culture over there, you would understand why it's not so simple to just, okay, well, why can't we just make an agreement? We'll pick a line. Where does Israel end and Palestine begin? And we'll all be friends forever. That's why it doesn't work like that, because this is the culture. This is the culture that is upbringing all of these children. Don't forget that the people that are alive today in Gaza, the kids that are alive in Gaza, Gaza has been completely eradicated of Jews for the last 20 years. No Jew has lived in Gaza or been in Gaza for 20 years, since 2005. With that means that Hamas has been in control since 2005. So that means that if you were born and you were under 20 years old, you have literally never seen anything different than this bubble. That is the culture that you live in. That is the society you grew up with. And if you, as a person, as an American, had grown up there, were born there, don't get off your high horse to think that you would think any differently. I wouldn't think any different. You wouldn't think, none of us would think any differently. This is the environment, the culture, the worldview, that everything that has been shaped in that area. And so it's not just a matter of, oh, well, get some new leaders in there. This is an ideology that needs to be stopped. An ideology that needs to be stopped. And that is what that is the root of the current fighting going on now, is figuring out how to, first of all, get rid of the active terrorists that seek the destruction, and figure out how to make some sort of new culture, new ideology, new worldview that is not going to be teaching children from the youngest of age that they need to hate and kill everyone that's not exactly like them. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.